And don't forget to put yours out to your
Thank you.
people.
I almost forgot.
All right, we are live. We are back. This is day 3. We are excited to be here with you guys. I hope that you are as excited as we are. We've been having conversations off camera. We've been having conversations in green rooms. We've been having conversations across the world, right? Because here's the thing, this conversation can expand in your business, right? Wherever you are. And so again, I'm joined with Dr. Ebony McClinton. She is here from Humanity First. We are talking about AI. Are you AI ready or AI obsolete? And over the last couple of weeks, you guys, listen, we've been talking about how companies can manage to keep their staff, invest in their staff, and put people first. We've talked about how we can leverage internally those people who are excited about AI and get them to be those ones that will actually train their staff inside the organization versus bringing people from outside the organization. We talked about maintaining that fervor, that passion for the work that you do, and not putting new people in the spot that don't even have any kind of engagement with what you really are as an organization and as a business, right? So we really are excited today. Day 3, we're really going a little bit more into some of the things that you can actualize, right? Dr. Ebony, she talked about the assessment. So we're going to pick that conversation up about the assessment and why that's so important to see where your people are. You think about this. If you were in a vehicle and you were going anywhere, a GPS can help you, right? Or a map can help you. You got to know where are you right now so that you can see where you got to go, right? But this is moving so fast. Dr. Ebony is what? Moving at the fast as the speed of
As
AI, right?
AI.
That's what they say. They say we move at the speed of AI, and because of that, we have to be agile and make those moves. So as we talk about this conversation, what's coming up for you, Dr. Ebony, that you want to make sure people really hear today?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me again, Dwayne. This has been an excellent conversation over the past few weeks. Super just elated that we're even having this type of conversation because it's so necessary. And you posed a really great question, like what's on my mind? A lot of times, over the past few weeks, I just keep going back to it's not a tech problem, right? So AI is not a tech problem. It's definitely more of a human problem. At the end of the day, we need individuals to be ready, right? So like we challenge ourselves with the naming convention of this session, AI ready or AI obsolete. Do we have our organizations in place? Are they ready and geared up for what's happening right now? Cannot call this a tech problem, and it's not a tech problem. It's more of a, do we have the right people in place who are, fluent, who are going back to that, we're going to talk a little bit here about the AIQ framework and what it does. Do they have that right AI mindset to make sure they're ready, their workforce is future ready?
Yeah, future ready is the big words, right? And I was reading an article by Amazon, and it's so interesting because they were saying they were leaving, letting people go, and all this kind of stuff. But in the same breath, they're talking about AI fluency. And I'm like, okay, so this word fluency, this idea of AI literacy is starting to really bubble back up, right? Bubble up where it should be. It should have been first in the first place, right?
Right.
But there was thousands of companies that rushed into AI with their staff and they just put it on them and they didn't get them prepared. They didn't give them the tools that they need to even know how to use the tool. I could put the hammer in anyone's hand, but everybody don't know how to use the hammer the same way, right? It could be the same exact hammer, same exact tool, but some people are, smashing holes in the wall and other people are building, amazing things. So we want to make sure that we pay attention to that. And I love it. We talked about this and this whole idea of leveraging the people that are already there. It's a human problem, right? It's how do we make sure we keep humanity in the mix, right? We're now in an agentic age where things are being done by agent. I read a article and it said 62% of your next colleagues will be agentic.
Wow.
62% by 2028, with the current rate of agents being created for work. You won't be talking to Bob, your agent. I mean, your Bob, the guy, the neighbor. You'll be talking to the agent Bob, right? And so we have to understand that. And how do you prepare people for such a movement? You know, in every revolution, there was a loss, but there was a major gain. Now, here's what I did see. There are jobs that tech can't replace,
Right.
right? And like nursing. But now nursing can be done more effectively and efficiently with AI, because not only can they say, here's the diagnosis, but they can go deeper now and look into some of these things to make it better. So we do have this usefulness of how, you know, AI is generating a new thought when it comes to the work that we already do. But let's talk about this IQ that you talked about, the AI IQ. Could you go back into that and explain why you feel and why we agree that it should be something to be leveraged, and why, how we can do that inside an organization?
Absolutely, Dwayne. Even thinking about from our nursing population that you just shared, right? We know that nurses can't be replaced. We're always going to need a physical nurse to tend to another human patient, right? But what we can do is assess their readiness. And that's what the AIQ framework is built for. It basically will start off with figuring out where you are from a mindset standpoint when it relates to AI. Where is your AI mindset? I think that's super critical. And then from there, it was going to assess where you are in regards to your fluency. We talked about that a few moments ago. AI fluency, AI competency. Where do you stand in that particular situation, Dwayne? Then from there, we're going to have the opportunity to really evaluate where you are altogether. Where is your readiness, right? So we want to know, what is your mindset? Where are you at from an AI acuity level, your AI fluency level? And then from there, bringing that all together with your competence and your confidence, and we're going to be able to provide you a roadmap, right? Gives you a roadmap as to this is where you are, and this is where we can continue to take you by having access to these tools that the AIQ framework would provide to you. So it's
Yeah,
a really amazing a piece of equipment, if you will, that will help individuals go back to what we said earlier, get future workforce ready.
yeah, because the AI acuity is so important. And then we think about this, right? One of the things we talked about is once you have those things in place, you get clarity, right? So
Clarity.
it brings the clarity that you as a leader must have moving in the future. And the future is now. We said, you know, AI is moving so fast. There's so many different things. Even in the organization that I'm a part of, you know, I'm on a community practice team. And today we have a meeting at 1 o'clock. And we're talking about now, how do we go about upskilling our employees?
I love
Now
that.
that we have this tool and it's getting ready to be released to like 30% of the population, not the full 100%, which I think is smart. You know, I was actually part of that conversation when we talked about how do we roll it out? Do we roll it out to everybody or just a few select few, and what parts of the departments and programs? And now we see how that's going to be effective. So when we think about fluency, we think about literacy, we think about acuity. How do we start that conversation with these leaders? What do you think is something that a person internally of an organization who is fluent or has been putting in the time to learn this technology and where it's going, what are some of the things and strategies you think that they might be able to employ? Because today we want to talk about some actual steps people can
Yeah.
take.
Yeah, Dwayne, I think it's so important that we start small, right? We don't want to just automatically assume that individuals understand AI and that they know exactly what to do with AI, right? So instead, we want to introduce almost piecemeal AI in a granular format to the teams that are involved and will be working with AI solutions. When we do that, we start building on that skill set. So the more that you give them, right? The more that you give them, the more that they're able to learn and utilize. That utility piece is super important, as we just mentioned. They need to go in there and actually play around. The more that
Yes.
they do that, right?
Have some
Not only
fun, but then learn some stuff.
Exactly. And not only are they learning, but that's the thing about AI. AI is learning with you. So the more that you use these tools, these platforms that are out there, the more that it is going to be a win-win for not only you as the individual, but also for the AI platforms that you're utilizing at that particular time. So I really think it's important that we start small. We don't just want to, just throw everything out there, including the kitchen sink to the staff. Give them time to really digest what has been provided to them, give them real use cases of the tools that are at their disposal, right? So we talked about nurses a few moments ago. So if I'm in the nursing population, work with me, identify what my pain
Yeah.
points are, what are things that I can use to make my day better as a nurse, to make sure that I'm being effective with my patients. And, how is that going to, again, be a win-win for both me as well as for my patients? So you have to ask the right questions, figure out those applicable use cases, and give individuals the time to actually learn the tools that are there. And so I think that's the biggest thing. And I also didn't mention this, but really just having a conversation about those pain points, right? Don't make assumption, right? So if you are a leader in an organization, but you're not actually working in the field, say you're not a nurse, but you're a nursing manager, you're not actually there doing that work. The person who's going to have that information and have that insight will be your nurses. So actually lean on those individuals, ask them what is going on, have those robust conversations, take that information, curate it to the technology, the AI that is going to be most applicable to your staff.
Yeah, so what you just identified is what they call a tech stack, right? Because
Yes.
first you have to identify what the individual work that you do. So let's just say that your whole background is entomology, right? So you got to look at like how diseases go from one particular let's say it's a bug that goes into a animal, right? We got to look at what is it that you do on a regular basis to get to the point that now you can talk to another data scientist and a regular scientist and help them take that data and make sense of it so that they can do something with this particular disease, whatever it may be. So in work that I do, that's one of the things that we do. We look at plant diseases, we look at the plant health, we look at the water health, we look at this kind of thing. So I have to take that individual and have a conversation and say, okay, what are the 20 things that you do? Because AI is not a solution for everything.
That's right.
Let me say that again. AI is not a solution for everything, right? We have to look at the tech stack. And then once we get that tech stack, because we looked at the job and the work, remember, a nurse, and going back to what you were saying, Dr. Ebony, the nurse is in an environment with all these other specialists, the EKG specialists, the phlebotomists, all these different specialists that they have to share data and share information. Well, it would make the nurse's job real easy when that information is readily available, but not just, hey, this person has XYZ, but here are 15 other things that are associated with it that you got to be aware of. So it can really, really revolutionize the kind of work that we do and in every field. And that's from the top CEO, C-suite down to the janitor. The janitor might be washing the floor at the wrong time, y'all. And you
I
can
love
figure
that.
that out with the data and say, no, he needs to go to floor number 10, floor number 7, then floor number 2 to keep the nurse's job more effective. You didn't have that activity before, but now we can take that data and see where are those points that make that happen. And then I love it, the fact that, we talked about this in I think day one, where we said, you don't have to lay off the staff, right? So these companies can just reassign, re-role, like figure out a new role for that individual, create new roles, look at the current job description and say, okay, how can we augment this? How can we add something to it to make it effective where we use AI? So like you just said, the nurses today could be way, way more effective now with the use of a tool such as the augmented AI tool. And then understanding that tech stack. How do we put all this stuff together to make it make sense? So, there's a lot of freedom in what we do because we're both certified, accredited consultants, right? We're AI consultants. We took the time to do the work to get behind, all these tools. I don't know about you, but I know at least 67 tools that I use on a pretty, good basis, right? And there's new ones coming out every day.
every
How
day.
do you help with the overwhelm of AI when it comes to leaders trying to figure out what they actually need?
Yeah, I say take your time, do your homework, right? This is where it's important to lean on your other peers who are in the same industry as you, right? Figure out what they're using, leverage those types of tools, leverage those resources. And it goes back to what I stated earlier, conversation. Conversation is so critical. It even goes back to what we were talking about last week, Dwayne, when we were discussing layoffs, right? So many organizations are going straight to making the decision without having any conversation of
Let's
just
just cut
laying
them.
off. Yeah. Oh, we're
We're
down
gonna save 16
15,000
million
employees
dollars.
today. And then those 15,000 employees, when you ask them, did anyone have a conversation with you? The answer is no. So
No.
I really lean on, converse with others, have that rich dialogue, understand what is out there, and really start using it, right? So go out there and play around. You said you have about 67 tools in your tool belt. I probably have about just as many as you, Dwayne. And so I'm constantly every day learning and exploring with what those can be and how they can make my life so much easier. And I am, like you said, the two of us we're certified consultants. So we do this on a daily basis, but we're constantly learning. And so that's what you have to do is you have to have that mindset, that AI mindset to say, I'm open to this. I'm willing to go out there. And that's where you start exploring. And then that's where you then bring it back to your organization and say, hey, I found something for us. I would like for us to use it. Let's see if this is going to be something we can sustain as an organization. So I think that's so critical in the roles of a leader in an organization, Dwayne, for sure. And it leads me into, I know the two of us were talking about how that, we're talking about application today. And I know one
Yep.
of the things that we're, wanting to explore with more organizations would be the use of a human AI collaboration academy, right? So going on the days, we talked about this earlier, of training, right? Individuals are like, hey, I don't put me in a classroom for 3 to 5 hours and expect me to, just retain that information.
Yes.
Give
Oh my
me
gosh.
real
Is that,
time.
I mean, we got to take a pause right here because that has been the strategy of so many organizations as well. Hey, they'll get it. So we'll set up some asynchronous work and just put them in there and let them do it. And this particular technology needs you to do both. They need you to have your hands in it. They need you to see, like, okay, here's 5 tools that does the same thing. Why should I use one over the other? How does one make it better than the other? Or is it even better? Right.
Right.
So as you talk about this, Dr. Ebony, there's strategies on how we learned all these tools. We didn't just so, ooh, here's a new AI tool. Here's another AI tool. Here's
Right.
another AI, right? We had to look at the work that we do. We had to look at the impact we want to make. We had to look at the type of strategies we want to employ inside an organization, a trainer type situation, that type of thing. So let's go into detail more about what we're talking about when we're talking about having this type of, process for people to engage and get the real knowledge that they need.
Yeah. So one of the biggest use cases that I love about the AI Human Collaboration Academies is the real-time application, Dwayne. Individuals get accessibility to actual tools that they can employ in real time that are going to be applicable to their actual roles, right? So we have the opportunity to again assess them as to where they are utilizing the AIQ framework, then allowing them to understand where their mindset is from an AI standpoint and bringing that all together, right? In the academy, we'll have the opportunity to discuss things such as AI based roles, right? What does that look like for you? Because we keep hearing from individuals all of the time, am I going to lose my job? No,
Mhm.
you're not going to lose your job. But what's going to happen is if you don't get yourself AI ready, the next person who is AI ready is going to take your job. So that's
Yeah.
what individuals need to hear. And that's what that collaboration academy will provide that, right? So it's a cohort type style experience for individuals, which we both know from the research that individuals love peer learning, right?
Yeah,
Individuals
peer-to-peer
want
learning
to,
is more effective than all the other types. And
right?
as you were saying, collaboration, right? Because I could collaborate with the tool, I could collaborate with you, I could collaborate with other teammates, I can collaborate across the whole industry. So it's not even just what's happening in the room, but what happens after the room,
That's
right?
right.
So outstanding stuff. So Dr. Ebony, people have to have a certain mindset to be able to even embrace this idea of a collaborative environment for training and development, things like that. Because right now I can tell you, training budgets get cut first. They're
You
like,
know,
okay, we're going to cut the training budget. And you and I have actually experienced this, right? Real time.
Real
Like,
time.
hey, uh, why do we need learning development? We can just send them to Skillsoft or something, right?
Yeah.
We can watch a YouTube video and you'll be fine. We know that that's not the most effective, nor you don't get the return on investment. So what's the return on investment by doing it in the way that you're suggesting or we're suggesting when it comes to leaders taking this collaborative approach?
Yeah, and I love that because, again, the shortcut that we've been seeing a lot of, and like you said, the two of us ourselves have personal impact to that. It might be a shortcut band-aid, but that's all it is. It's just a band-aid, right? So what we're offering instead, Dwayne, as the certified experts here, we're offering where, again, over time, you not only get to retain your staff, but you get to basically bring out that human element that we keep talking about, right? To say that, hey, we do care for our staff. We recognize that we want to retain our talent. We know that there is a war on talent out there, and so we're going to do everything that we can to upskill and develop those individuals. So that's one of the biggest use cases, Dwayne, that I can share of having a collaboration academy inside of organizations. So when you keep your talent, again, it goes back to that return on investment that you just mentioned there, Dwayne. You're keeping that talent. You're, again, honing in on that investment that you've made with these individuals, as opposed to putting a band-aid on it, cutting ties, severing ties, sending individuals on their own and trying to figure it out. And so we're seeing that now. A lot of these organizations are doing this, right, where they're cutting ties, and now they're behind the scenes scrambling, trying to figure out what they can do, where what we're offering instead is keep your talent, bring in AI collaboration academies, upskill your workforce, keep that return on investment. It will then be a cyclical format, right? Because now you've upskilled these individuals in AI. They're going to continue to upskill the new talent that's coming
Yep.
in. Your workforce is now future proof. They are future ready. Keep your talent. Use the existing leverage and skills that you have. Leverage the resources with the likes of certified consultants like myself and Dwayne to do that. So important.
Yeah, and we're not just championing us, right? You don't have to use us at all.
At
But the
all.
fact is, we've done the work to get that done, right? And here's the thing: some people think that if they get rid of or they let go of people who have been there for a long time and their salaries are high, they can, replace them with someone with a salary that's low, and therefore, it'll balance out for their budget. But the fact is, how long did it take that person to gain that institutional knowledge that you're allowing them to walk out? And then if that person is the person who says, yes, I want to learn, I do want to, leverage AI in my work. Why not give them the tool? Why not even create a sandbox for them to play in? There's a couple of other companies that have done that. They've created sandboxes and said,
Right.
okay, you cannot break anything in here. We've already put the guardrails up. We put the securities in place. We put the policies in place, and now go play, right? But show us what you got, right? And you might come up with something brand new that you haven't even thought about, or somebody been thinking about it for 20 years but didn't have the technology to make it come to pass, right? So those kind of things are priceless to an organization, because right now you could test out an entire process with an app that you built with no code, get it in the hands of people to use it, figure out the bugs, then send it to your development team. How much money did you save? Hundreds of thousands, okay? Because you got development time, you have the time that it takes from thought to actual implementation, and all the other stuff in the middle. So you got to pay attention to this. So this collaborative effort that Dr. Ebony and I are talking about is really just the thing for you, right? And here's why we say this: because we know, we've experienced it. We've sat on the other side of not knowing and knew that we needed to take advantage of this new technology right now. We were first adopters to this. I wasn't just a chat GPT guy, right? She wasn't just a chat GPT doctor. She looked at this and said, oh, wait a minute. I'm seeing a change, a shift that we really need to lean into. And she leaned into it with her business. And we came across each other in a big conference and said, hey, we need to get this message out to more people. And so as we get ready to wrap up and move forward, how do they get involved with this? What are some of the things we do? Because we talked about a trainer model. We talked about going into an organization, getting them, prepared, giving them the information they need. Then we back out and become consultant to them from the outside in. What are some of the things you think people or leaders want to hear in reference to how we could make this happen?
Yeah, Dwayne. I think the biggest thing is just reaching out, right? Asking us, having a conversation, as I keep alluding to over today's phone call. I think that's so important. Just having the initial conversation, sharing with us, and being completely transparent as to what your needs
Mhm.
are as an organization, not only from the entire organization, but also you as a leader, as well as and what your teams are looking like, right? And then from there, we can help you define and decide where the next steps are, right? Would that be an audit? Would that be potentially looking at that AIQ framework and bringing that into
Cool.
your organization?
Yeah,
If your organization is already having conversations of potentially reducing the workforce, but you're still having those conversations, this is the
definitely.
opportune time to bring us in, have those conversations so that we can assist you with getting your organization future ready so that you can retain that talent as opposed to, again, putting that band aid on it and letting go of talent. It's just, I strongly believe that if we keep the humanity inside of these organizations by keeping our talent, we are going to see so many more successful organizations into our future who are future ready
Yeah.
by doing that. So Dwayne, I'll let you add, but for me, I really think it's just having that conversation, allowing us to do some assessment, determining there if it's the AIQ framework, an audit, and then potentially even bringing in that collaboration academy as well. What are some additional thoughts that you have by
Yeah.
chance?
I'm over here almost trying to jump out my skin a little bit because it's like the audit, right? The audit was so powerful. I recently helped audit a company, and I was like, listen, here's the gaps that I saw, and then let's use AI to see what gaps it sees. And I was able to find more gaps, and they were like shocked that they had these gaps. And I said,
Yeah,
now let me ask you this: what is your ultimate goal? And this was a real estate investing company. So I was like, hey, if you can come up with another strategy on how you go about doing this, perhaps this is a different approach and we could put a pilot together to move forward with that. And so right now they're looking for funds to make that happen. I was working with a mental health organization who wanted to improve the note taking for their staff. And here's the thing, their staff is taking these notes in real time, so they're scribbling stuff and they're not able to like figure it out when they
yeah.
get back to the office. And they're like, I
What did I
think
write?
I said, what did I say? Go get some eggs for breakfast? I'm probably not. Right. And so it's like, wait a minute, can we do something better for those notes? And so I created an opportunity for them to use a tool that would actually take those scribble scrabbles, and we tested it. I said, let's just scribble it a little bit. And it was able to, through looking at multiple types of scribbles, it was able to decipher what it was and come up with a more accurate note. Imagine that, because somebody put 1.0 versus 0.01,
I love it. Yeah.
and that
The
medication now
quality.
goes out.
Mhm.
It's volatile, right? So we're talking about quality. We're talking about effectiveness. We're talking about productivity. We're talking about helping people be better, right? And so I heard this term called AI hybrid, and I said AI hybrid. Yeah, people have an AI hybrid. It's like them and then their assistant, and they collaborate
Okay.
together, and they're a hybrid. It's like I have my Dwayne right here, and I
Right.
always have my little extra dude over here helping me. And now we work together, right? And we're more efficient, we're more effective, we can get to problems quicker because it identifies them fast. It's working in our language, right? Because it's over, although it's a large language model, it uses everyday language because it's a natural language processing.
Right.
So it's easy to do. And then because we now have coding available to us and deep research available to us at our fingertips, it could go find stuff way, way faster than I'll ever. By the time I walk across the room, it's already deciphered the information, gave me an assessment, and put a report together. I mean, Dr. Ebony, I don't really have much more to say than to tell people reach out to us.
Reach
We
out.
decided to do 3 days. We thought 1 hour would be too much. We knew that we could do a lunch and learn with this right here, and so we decided to put 3 days. We are talking about coming together again after the holidays into the new year to talk about some of these things a little bit more deeper, right? But we want to hear from you. We want to know what your thoughts are on all these things, right? So we're going to be rebroadcasting them over the couple of days and weeks, and we really want you to think about what you're doing with your people. Think about your organization. You know, we had people leave under retirement. We had people leave under this Doge thing that happened to America. We had people leave being told that they were not really good at the work that they do, and they know they were. We as an organization, I'm talking about we as a United States of America, we as a nation, we as a world of humanity. Dr. Ebony, we want to keep humanity first.
We have to keep humanity first. You're ending it right on the right note, and that's what we're asking organizations to do as well. And I just want to end as we go into the holidays. AI is a gift that keeps on giving. So let us know how we can help you with that.
Yes, it does. And so this is me, Dwayne Ross, here with Dr. Ebony McClinton, taking some time.
Job well done,
Let me
Dwayne.
say your name right. I said McClinton instead of McClinton, right? Dr. Ebony, Dwayne Ross, CEO of Humanity First, CEO of SkillVibes.net. We're here to be your support. We really want to hear your voice. We want you to tell us, come to us, let us help you. Help yourself. All right, let's keep humanity first. Let's make sure that we focus on the revolution, because the AI revolution isn't coming. It's already here. And we're moving at the speed of AI. Have a great day, everybody. We take care, and we'll see you the next time. I don't know what day it's gonna be, Dr. Ebony, but
It'll be
we're gonna come
soon.
on
Trust
back.
me. We'll be
All
back.
right,
And we
we'll be
need your
back.
comments to help us with that.
Yes, we'll be back.